So hello everyone and welcome to Mildenhall Live. This isn't announced or anything like that. This is just one of those things that I'm knocking about at home today, and I've decided that I'm going to do some more work onto the layout, which I thought maybe some of you may or may not be interested in. And basically I've called it making hard standing, but this can apply to, like I said, roads, also to do with what I'm going to be using it for the container terminal. And so I thought, well, I'm going to be doing it, and anybody who's interested can see me do it live, and anyone who wants to comment, therefore comment and ask any questions as we're going along, and those questions may possibly help other people who watch later. I'm not sure how long this is going to take or whatever. It shouldn't take a huge amount of time because I've already done some already. Hello Matthew Judge, welcome to the stream. So I'm just going to go through with you some of the bits that I'm going to be using for this hard standing. And like I said, that's what this live video is all about. So if you're not kind of interested in it, then feel free to not bother watching and switching off right now. So here we go. So one of the things I'm going to need is, clearly I'm going to be needing some filler. So I've got some filler. This has come from Wix's, but hello Cottesmore, welcome to the stream. And basically this is, like I said, Wix's filler, but it could just as easily be Homebase or B&Q or your local DIY store, whatever. So it's just filler. The next thing I'm going to need is another tub. This is another tub of filler, but I've already used it, so it's just an empty tub. So I just use this to just dispense it, so I don't contaminate if I don't use all of the one that I've just bought. Hello, I like transport, welcome to the stream. So if you don't, like I said, use all of your original one that you bought, you don't want to contaminate it, you just transfer it into an empty tub. I've also got some water. And you could easily just be in a cup, or it doesn't have to be like this, but I just find it easy to dispense it this way. I have a bowl and a sponge, so that's going to be needed as well. I've also got some acrylic paint. Oh, okay, a day on today. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I'm not in competition with anybody, to be honest with you. If everyone wants to watch Hattons, that's fine. They can always watch me later or whenever. I'm not, like I said, I'm not in it for numbers or anything. I just find that I'm going to be doing this now anyway, and basically those who are interested can watch. The next thing I have is a filling knife, and I also have a spoon. So these are kind of what we have going on at the moment. So let me just see if I can switch you around, and bear with me a minute. Right, so this is the area that we're working on. My apologies for the kind of so this is my container terminal, or what was. Yeah, it does make a bit of a mess. So basically, I have my container, my new crane, I should say, and unfortunately, the tracks that I've had previously made, it doesn't fit. So I'm going to have to reconfigure the track work to get it to work. So the plan is to basically get this grey area to look like the area behind it. And as you can see, I've kind of got the iPad, so I can just kind of keep in touch with everybody. So that's, but I've already made a start on it because I've already lifted this track up yesterday and I've already filled it in. But I'm just going to go over it again. So this has already had one coat already, so it's going to have another coat, and then it's going to dry. Now, if people like this video and enjoy it, then basically put it in the comments and I'll carry when I do the next bit of it, I can then just do another either live video or I'll just do another video. But I just thought it just might be helpful because some people have asked me how I've done my roads, and this applies to roads. This also applies to, like I said, concrete hard standing. So I just tend to use a filler because I just find, as much as it is a mess to do, I just find that it's a more realistic way of doing it, and I think it looks really good. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to get some of the filler, and we're going to start dispensing it. So that's the first thing we're going to do. My apologies if you don't sort of see me for a minute or two. So this is kind of how it comes, like this, and it's white. Oh, that's good. I'm glad it's going to help you. I mean, I'm not saying it. I mean, because some people tend to use like Fala self-adhesive roads, or some people use like scale model scenery stuff, and some people use Metcalf and all the rest of it. This is just how I prefer to do it, to be honest. So here's our empty tub, and I'm just going to take a chunk of this. I'm not exactly sure how much I'm going to need of it, but I'm just going to so that's probably about half of it. So that's what I'm going to do. My apologies if I missed any comments. Just to sort of show you here. Yeah, I think so. So I've just basically added this section last night, and this is matchsticks. And the matchsticks, I always use matchsticks because once it basically glue them down with PVA, leave them overnight, they go hard, and then you can fill it in, and then that creates an outline or a footprint of how you want to do what you want to do. So basically, I'm now just going to extend this out, so I'm going to fill all the way into this bit as well. So that's what I'm also going to be doing today. So originally, I'll just get a pencil, draw it out, and then I'll use the matchsticks and glue it down with PVA, leave it overnight so it sets hard, because if you don't do that, when you put the filler in, the matchsticks start moving, so you need to make sure that the matchsticks are set hard, so when you put the filler up against the matchsticks ain't going to move anywhere. So the next thing to do is I've now got my little paste, my filler dispensed in here, is to give it some colour. Now I've got this acrylic, little acrylic black paint, and it just needs a tiny little squirt because it's quite strong. It's always best to put a little bit in first, because if you don't, if you put in too much, then it goes too dark. Now the reason why you don't have to put, you can see the black pigment in there. You don't have to use anything. You can just use the filler as it is. Yeah, I've got Freightliner 70. Mine's a weathered one. I really like it. But the thing is, if you don't, is that when it starts to chip, it goes white. So that's why you kind of mix it into this paste, and then that way, if it chips, it still chips grey. It doesn't chip white, and you don't see the white underneath. But like I said, some people do just use the white filler. Now the next thing we need to do is we take a little drop of water and we pour a bit in. It might be a bit too much, I've just poured in, I don't know. The reason for that, the reason for putting water in is because this filler is actually, let me just put you down a bit more, is that this filler is actually quite hard. So you need to make it a bit more user-friendly. And by putting just a drop of water, it makes it a bit more pliable. And as you can see, you're just trying to mix it all up into this sort of grey paste. So are we all happy so far? So As you can see, it's starting to go all grey. Yeah, I mean, you don't want it too runny, because sometimes if you have it too runny, it just doesn't set. So you're just sort of mixing this in. And to be honest with you, it doesn't even need to be the exact same grey as what you've already got on, because it doesn't matter, because it's all patchwork anyway. Oh, Richard Sawyer, welcome from Western Australia. I am pleased. Right, so as you can see, look, that little bit of black pigment has made this really go really grey. Yeah, I'm just doing this because I was going to do this anyway, and I was a bit bored, and I thought, well, I'm going to do this, and I needed to get this done, and I thought, well, I might as well do it live, and then if there's anyone interested in what I'm doing, then they can watch along. So we now got this kind of a bit more. I'm just going to put a drop more water into it. Do I put more? Yeah, I'm going to do it that way round. You see, because what happened is the last time round I laid the track, and it wasn't really noticeable on the camera, but the last time round I actually thought I was being really clever, and I did that, and I put the filler underneath, put the track down first, and then I put the filler on top, and then it came out really badly because the track ended up lifting and buckling, and it was all twisted. So luckily I had to go over at slow speed, so it didn't make too much difference. So this time I'm just going to lay it on the top. Yeah, well, like I said, this is just the first time round, and as you can see, there's all sorts of. If I just see if I can zoom you in a bit, you can see that there's kind of 4 lines where the tracks used to be. So that's where the heaviest of the filler has been, to level it out with the rest of it. This was the first coat, and I sanded it down, and it's still got imperfections. But like I said, I'm not looking for this to be perfect. I'm just looking for this to be believable and also relatively smooth. Not, like I said, I don't mind if there's imperfections in it, but just as long as it's not blatant. And also because, like I said, I want to extend this bit here. So that's something else we're going to do. Right, so I guess let's try and move you along a bit. And hopefully, I'm just trying to keep an eye on everybody so I don't try not to miss anything. If you have questions, please feel free to ask. And like I said, I will try my best to help you. So let's go a bit more lower. Right, okay. So, I'm not doing this bit, I'm just, that bit there, the grey bit, that's already grey. Now hopefully this shouldn't be too bad because I've already done one load of filler already, so it shouldn't be too bad. So like I said, this shouldn't take too long. Let's get that right in there. See, I'm just trying to cover the tracks from what I did last time as well. It is very messy doing this, but I think the results are definitely worth it in the end. Forgive me, I'm not actually paying too much attention to what's going on in the chat, but if anyone's got any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll move this up here a bit so I can actually see a bit better. So it's in my eye line. No, it's not too bad. Like I said, because I'd already done this yesterday, I'd actually got quite good results yesterday, but it's just a matter of just It's actually quite therapeutic doing this. Oh, that's not too bad at all, not too shabby. I mean, right, let's move you back a bit so you can carry on seeing what I'm doing. I don't know if it's better for me to sort of put you over there and then that way. Well, if I just zoom you in, sorry about this. If I zoom you in a little bit, you can see all the imperfections that you can see. And I'm just trying to smooth some of those out. That's all I'm trying to do right now. So I'm going to just zoom you back out. My apologies. But I'm going to just leave you like that for now, whilst I carry on. Right. No, I did have one of these bigger plastic knives. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I'm not too overly fussed because I know that once this is sanded down, this will be alright. I was a bit daunted at doing this at first, but I'm actually quite confident in doing it. I mean, it never looks good at first. It's only once it dries and you get the sandpaper out or the sander out that you kind of. And the other thing I wanted to do is the colour that you see on the right hand side of your screen is a slightly lighter colour, and that's kind of deliberate because by having this darker colour underneath, this darker grey underneath, when you sand it, you get some of this grey that comes out, random grey that comes out underneath. And I like that. So, and what I do is once this is all completely sanded, I'll do the same again. I'll just paint this whole section in that same colour and do what I've done over there, over here. But like I said, this is just purely because the crane doesn't fit in the same tracks anymore, which is why I've had to lift it and redo it. But I don't mind because, like I said, I kind of bodged it up the last time. Because, like I said, I did put the tracks down before, and then I went over with the filler, and that didn't really work for me. So, right, so. My apologies if this is kind of boring you to tears. I hope, it's just I know a few people had asked me about how I did it, and I thought, well, I'm going to do it today anyway. And if everyone else that happens, then so be it. It's just, I was going to take up these tracks. Oh, well, good. Well, the thing is, to be honest with you, it wouldn't be boring if I wasn't doing this live, because all I'd be doing is having the music on and I'd just be listening to music. So it wouldn't really be boring from that point of view. It's just, like I said, a few people had asked me and I thought, well, let me just show you how I do it. And then, if you, like I said, you take your choice really. If you want to try it, try it. If you don't, then obviously you don't have to. And now, you might have enough to do. Hey, I'm not going anywhere, I like transport. This is going to take a little while. It shouldn't, like I said, it shouldn't take too long because I've already done the first bit. But this bit that I'm about to show you, which I can see that you're not really seeing, so we'll just, there we go. This section here, this is going to take a little bit longer because this is completely filled in from you. So I've got to marry this section up with that section. But it looks like I've got enough filler to do it, so that's cool. So basically just do that like that. And there you go. Just smooth it all in. And like I said, the matchsticks hold it all in together. So, and nice. It's easier to work in smaller sections like this. But as you can see, this is what the matchsticks do for you. They hold it all into position. So I'm just going to drop that in there. And then we're going to, sorry if my arm's in the way. And there's a little bit there. So that kind of all goes in there like that, so. And this bit can go. My apologies once again if my arm's in the way. I'm going to try and go over the other side. I'm just going to move you slightly so don't panic. That's just so I can get in and do that corner. Excellent stuff. So I mixed up enough filler to cover this, so that's cool. Now obviously bearing in mind, because this is quite a thick layer that I've just done, this is going to take longer to dry than what I've done over there. So I don't expect this to be, yeah, I would have used Poundland, but I don't actually have a Poundland anywhere near me. So I've done this first one. This is the first coat on this little section out of this new section. So it's not going to look great, like you saw when I started on this section here. So the next thing to do is just to tidy it up a bit, really. So at the moment it looks pretty rough. As you can see, it doesn't look super fantastic, but we're going to try and smoothen it out now. So this is where the bowl comes in and our sponge, and we're going to be taking some water and pouring it into our bowl. Now I should say, I used this technique when I did Woodland Scenics, and I used the rock faces, and to marry them up, use the same technique, because it's a lot more easier. So we're going to dip our sponge into the water, And what this does is it makes the filler more user-friendly. So you can stretch it out. So we're going to just try and just smooth it out a bit. Like I said, I'm not looking for it to be perfect, but just to smooth it out enough. And I'll just work my way down for a minute. I'll do another little Oh, thank you for the comment, DH. Love, sorry if I got that quite wrong, Dove. Um, yeah, I'm watching it from a tiny iPad. Thank you very much for your comment. Okay, Dover Junction. Well, you can catch up the rest later. So yeah, so now I'm going to do another little strip. Now I'm going to sort of spin. I don't know if you can see the difference between. Hello, Robert Scott. Welcome to the stream. I don't know if you can see the sort of difference of what I've just done and what's left to do. Hang on a minute. But my apologies for my camera work. But you can see that on the bottom end it's a bit smoother than on the top. So hopefully we're going to go through it all and I'll sort of show you it to you in more closer detail. So I'm just going to pull you out and we'll just carry on for now. So once again, it's like I said, I'm just smoothing out the rough edges. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm just lightly doing it. I'm not doing it hard because you don't want to move the filler. You just want to just smooth it out. Just carry on doing this. My apologies if I'm missing people on the. So just smoothing this all out as best we can. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. So once again, just lightly with a sponge. Oh, okay, I hope the stream's still good. Well, actually, I've already done the first coat. This is just the second coat, and also it just helps us to move the filler around into the gaps. I find that using a sponge is a really great way of doing it. It really gets into the sort of holes that you can't get, that you don't sometimes miss using the filler knife. Right, so that's that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move you around this end because I've got a bit here left to do, and hopefully you'll be able to see the difference. So I'm just going to take you around to the end, and hopefully you can see the difference between what I have done and what the sponge actually does. Because then, so if I'm going to just zoom in a little bit, just clean my hands. Now, as you can see here, this is the bit that hasn't been smoothed out. Now you can see the rest I've just smoothed out with the sponge. So it's a lot smoother. And that's what the sponge does for you. Now, obviously everyone's got their own different ways of doing things. You don't have to follow my way. I'm just showing you how I do it. So I'm just going to zoom you out a bit more, and you can see what I've got to do here. But like I said, this bit here is where all the first coat is, which is what I've just done. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think the sponge does for you, and it also gets into those little tiny little holes that maybe you've missed with the filler knife. So I'm just gonna crack on a bit more. Actually, I'll leave you here. Are you happy with this angle? Let me just try and see if I can. Yeah, I think that will do. That's it, because then I can still work on this side. So again, we keep dipping the sponge, and just lightly just rubbing out and smoothing out. I tend to do it in one sort of straight line. Now, bearing in mind that the paint will go over this, and then I've got to sand it, so it's if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, because if I can help you, sometimes it's easier to ask. Like I said, I'll just try and tidy this first coat up as best as I can, but I know because it is the first coat, it is going to need more work, because obviously it's going to take longer to go off. So I'm going to have to go over that one again tomorrow. But like I said, I'll just try and smooth it out as best as I can. Hello, Sandy Junction, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we've all got our ways of doing it. This is sort of how I do it. Once this is all dried up, I'll take the sander to it. And like I said, I'm not looking for perfection because roads aren't perfect. But this is just to make sure that, you know, it's enough. And I think I've done all right, actually. And to be fair, this is a lot of hard standing here. This isn't just a small bit. It's literally probably about, what, 70-80% of my layout is this hard standing. So like I said, I'm just patching this up again. Because I've got some spare filler in here. So it's just a matter of making the most of it, really. Let's do a bit more down the bottom, so not for it to go to waste. It really is a messy job, this. And then that can go in there. And like I said, this particular one will probably, this area here will probably take a couple of days to go off, maybe. See if we can smooth that out a bit better. Like I said, you don't want it too runny, because otherwise it doesn't go off. It takes ages to go off. Right, so I'll smooth it out with the sponge. Doing a better job than the council. I like that. I do like the Mylema crane, but unfortunately, I was actually going to cover those tracks up as well. And again, just simply just smoothing it in, trying to blend it in. Like I said, it's not going to be perfect, but it's hopefully going to, because that's only the first coat over there. So if I just try, see what we can do over here. Alright, so that's not too bad. And even the new bit I've just done it's not too bad at all. And that's just literally had its first coat. Just trying to blend it in as best we can. Oops, sorry. Right, so it's just yeah, so that's going to need a bit more. So let's try see if we've got anything left in the tub. Let's get into that corner. Not much left. Right, so that let's just hit the rails. It is a very messy job indeed. Try and see if we can blend that in as best we can. Yeah, I think that's about as good as I'm going to get that, to be honest. So hello Richard over at New Junction, welcome to the stream. I'm nearly done. So now it's just a little clean up job around the edges here. So this is just so great, yeah, so that's pretty good. Right, so give me 1 second, I'm just going to wash my hands. And then, hi Anthony Strathmore, welcome to the stream. So here we go folks, that's how I do it. Those of you who haven't seen this can watch it on repeat or whatever. But let's just sort of show you what I've done. Basically, I've given this a second coat, and I've smoothed it out as best I can. This is the new extension little bit that I've done, and as you can see, this bit's still pretty ropey, but that's because it's just the first coat. And what I'll do is tomorrow, or tonight or tomorrow, whenever it dries, or the day after, I'll do exactly the same with this as what I've just showed you here. But at least if any of you are interested in doing this, then you know what to do from the start, because you can see that I've done some of it from the very beginning as a first coat. So if I just take you out. And here we go. Okay, right. So I'm just gonna spin you around. Woo, scary. So we're back. So we're all done. I hope you guys, my apologies, once again we'll go like this way so we can avoid the sunshine. There you go. So I hope you found this video useful. Those of you who are interested. So just to go through it again, what I've done. I've used this ready filler from Wix's. This is brand new, as you saw, and I've used approximately about half of it. It comes in white. And then what I've done is I've then, just bear with me a second. Bear with me. I've then dispensed it into this now rather grubby looking pot, which was nice and clean when we first started. So I dispensed the amount I needed. No problem, I like transport, see you. And then I've added the black pigment. Thank you, Hillside Junction. Like I said, I was going to do it anyway, and if it helps somebody, then it does. So I added a drop, and obviously you can add more later on, depending. And then what I've done is I had some water, and I dispensed a little bit of water into the filler just to make it a bit more pliable and a bit more user-friendly. And then you mixed it up until you get it into a nice sort of paste, and then you put it into the area that needs doing. Now, like I said, if you are doing it from nothing, then what I tend to do is I tend to draw and map it out onto the board and use the matchsticks, let the matchsticks go off overnight, and then start doing the fillering. But that's how I do it. And then I use the sponge with some water to then smooth it out as best as I can. And now we're at the stage where we just leave it. Now, I'm just going to have a little bit of I'm just going to clear this up a bit out of the way for a second, because I'm going to show you so far what I've done, so you can see what sort of end result will hopefully be. No, I probably do the same, but the thing is, it's like I said, people have got different methods. You know, like I said earlier, some people like to use like fallow roads, self-adhesive roads. Some people might want to use Metcalfe paving and Metcalfe roads or scale model scenery stuff. This is just how I like to do it. But it does work on a TMD. I'm just going to turn you around once more, so bear with me one moment. Ooh. Right, okie dokie. So, I'm just going to show you. This is how it is at the moment. Now, I gave it all one colour, and I gave it one coat of paint, and by having the grey underneath, when I sanded it, it took away some of the paint, and it kind of left this kind of worn look on the hard standing, which I really like. And it's completely random, and as you can see, I've done it all the way around, and there's like just random bits, patches, sort of everywhere. It works for me. I mean, it's not perfect, but then again, no road is. And then the other thing I was going to say, which I can't remember what I was going to say, is by using the grey, which is what I've done here, by using this grey here, my apologies for keep zooming in and out. That's better. So by using this grey here, when I paint over this with the light colour and I sand this down, you kind of get a similar effect to what I've just showed you over there. So like I said, my apologies for keep zooming in and out with the camera work. I'm just trying to do the best that I can with it and hopefully just give you a rough idea of how to do things. So here we go. So I'm going to just swap you over again. There you go. So let's do it this way, because then we're out. Right. So it's a bit of hard work, but never mind. It's been good because I've enjoyed doing it. I do actually find it quite therapeutic. My apologies for the kind of hickledy-pickledy kind of camera work at times. But I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you'd like me to do the next part of it, being part 2, then by all means let me know. Yeah, I mean, everyone has their own ways of doing things. This is just my way, and I know people have asked me about it. And it's like I say, you can go to town on it, or you can't. You know, it's up to you. I mean, like I said, you could just go say the very basics, just paint a road or paint a hard standing in a colour and leave it like that. Or you could just buy a card and cut it to shape and size black and just put it on the layout, and that could be done. That's fine. You know, we all have our ways of doing it. And like I said, there's Metcalf kits, probably Scale Model Scenery, and all these other companies that provide you with ways of doing this kind of thing. This is just how I prefer to do it. I prefer it this way because I find it more realistic. The thing is, when you use card and paper, as good as it may look in the beginning, sometimes the paper and the card starts curling up, or or when you print it, the shades are different, and then you get these noticeable lines and things like that. So it's, you know, you sort of take your choice really as to what you prefer. This is just how I prefer to do it, and it's nothing against using cards or anything. It's just I like and love using cards for certain things, but this isn't one of the ways that I use my card. So anyway, we're going to love you and leave you because we've been going for 47 minutes. And until the next time from Mildenhall, I hope you found this useful. And like I said, anyone who feels like they'd like me to do another one, like I said, obviously it won't be today now because obviously this all needs to go off and needs to dry, and then we can go on to the next part of it. So like I said, until the next time from Mildenhall, it's goodbye everyone, and thanks for tuning in. So bye from Mildenhall. Bye bye.